Just watch as I prove it all. I'm telling you I never let go. If I put on a show, I create the microphone now. And no one seasons, find your reason, find your reason. Go deep in, go see deep in your thoughts. You want to be touched, you want to just no weakness. We have no weakness in our mind of a time when we can't never leave it. Oh, I just wanna be a free man, be the flame, they can teach me how to be man, how to think, what to do, what to be in. Make moves, get the change in my own hands. All I do, what I gotta do, prove what I gotta prove, what I gotta move, choose what I gotta choose, lose. Now I gotta choose, I'll be the one at the top when I'm done, make a move, when I'm done, make a move. This life is one I choose. I don't stop, I keep moving. Just watch as I prove it all. I'm telling you I never let go. If I put on a show, I create the microphone now. And no one like to get paid, that's why I work every day. I'll be making money till I'm in my grave. Don't care what they say, I'll buy time with my money. Laughing to the bank cause it's funny. The money keep coming, I manifest it. Sing these lyrics and you'll get it. I'm the bank, come invest it. I get tracked and I have it. Money finds me attractive. I'm the type to make commas, turn a profit. I'm the boss, Willy Wonka, but it ain't chocolate. Yeah, I'm just being honest, I work for this shit. I'm usually modest, but this beat lit, so I'm going off thoughtless, talking my shit. Yeah, I'ma be the hottest designer in drip. I'm just coming with the rawness. I gotta admit that I'm usually modest, but I work hard for my shit. I'll do the work, yeah, I'll do it till it hurts. I'll invest in my future, I'll invest in the purse. I wanna be so rich, life changes, and I don't ever think about how much I just pay it. Yeah, it's a dream, the American dream. Live on top, don't stop till you got everything. But there's balance, cause this life is a challenge. You gotta live in the now while building up the talent. I'm the make commas, turn a profit. I'm the boss, Willy Wonka, but it ain't chocolate. Yeah, I'm just being honest, I work for this shit. I'm usually modest, but this beat lit, so I'm going off thoughtless, talking my shit. Yeah, I'ma be the hottest designer in drip. I'm just coming with the rawness. I gotta admit that I'm usually modest, but I work hard for my shit. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So keep working till it's hurting, cause that's when you start deserving everything you want, everything you need. Trust the process, yeah, you got this. Keep on working till you bleed. Yeah, I've been there, yeah, I've done that. 10 long years of breaking my back, but now I'm up here, never looking back. I got more dreams that I wanna go attack. Keep on going, keep on moving, never give up. I'll keep going, I can prove just what I'm made of. I got that fire in me, got that desire in me. I'm never tired, I'll be pushing till I'm finally free. I was made to break away from the pack, to challenge, to fight, and to carve my own path. This world wasn't made for the weak, they don't last. Survival of the fittest, so be vicious and attack. I'm the type to make commas, turn a profit. I'm the boss, Willy Wonka, but it ain't chocolate. Yeah, I'm just being honest, I work for this shit. I'm usually modest, but this beat lit, so I'm going off thoughtless, talking my shit. Yeah, I'ma be the hottest designer in drip. I'm just coming with the rawness. I gotta admit that I'm usually modest, but I work hard for my shit.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday night. I'm gonna start off by saying, Cal, your dad is hyping me up in chat, and I am here for it. How are you doing?
I'm not doing too bad. Overall, I think it's been a pretty phenomenal week. I guess last week was a good week for me. I finally got off the schneid. So I mean, I guess it's only up from here. I would have to assume.
Just a golf. I'll give you a golf clap. That's all you get for right
Yes.
now. You start picking things up, really turning it around. I'll give you a standing ovation on this pod. Okay?
Well, hey, 111 is pretty. That's a good record. I
True,
mean,
true. You're coming up in the world, that's for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, we got probably what I think when you and I were kind of talking about it. Potentially one of our shorter shows tonight. Not necessarily a ton to talk about. The highlight certainly I think will be the tier list at the end, per usual. But still some decent things to talk about. I know we're going to go through a little bit of power rankings, take a look at the standings a little bit. We have a couple of different things that we pointed out, but yeah, for the most part, kind of a more maybe quieter side of things in the actual ABL league versus the Discord in and of itself.
Sure.
Per usual, popping off like it tends to do. So, but yeah, let's get right into the power rankings if you're good with that.
Yeah, I will say though that I think it kind of goes hand in hand. When there's a bit of a lull in the ABL, the Discord
Totally,
will make up for it.
100%.
So I think maybe everyone got a little too bored over the past week.
I agree. All right, so here are our power rankings. We have once again early on in the season have a lot of movement per usual. That tends again to kind of be the case early on, just because teams are still settling into where they kind of fit. The numbers are lower in terms of changing in positions, which is I think an interesting observation in a sense, but. For the most part, yeah, still a lot of movement. So, any particular kind of thoughts on your end to kick it off?
Yeah, we got some big winners and losers over the past week. I'd probably say number one sticks out would be the Cubs. It wasn't like a huge shift; they only went up 4 spots, but they did have a huge week. Not one that I thought was. I feel like they could take anyone in the Central except for Jeff. So
Seriously.
yeah, they totally launched themselves into that three-headed monster out there in the NL Central, and they were able to do it against the Cardinals. So I was very surprised that they were able to take down the Cardinals and the Brewers. Meanwhile, Zach may not have the strongest team, but still getting 2 divisional wins.
Yeah, right.
That's still pretty. That's a clutch moment. So yeah, huge week for the Cubbies.
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting to kind of look at. My note was kind of the inter-tier changes. So there weren't many teams changing tiers in a sense. Pretty much everyone I think in the top 10 was in the top 10 last week. If my math, or actually I guess the Astros maybe weren't. The Astros came in and the A's fell out. But outside of that, everyone else stayed the same there. Pretty much the exact same here in the middle tier, and pretty much the exact same here in the bottom tier. So I will say it's kind of unfortunate down here at the bottom. You're still in last.
I don't get it.
A winless team, but you know what?
It's ridiculous.
Maybe one day you'll get out of that 30 spot. We'll see.
I will say this though: if you look at the scores, I had the same exact score as the Pirates, so that kind of shows where I'm at. I'm in that Pirates tier of team.
And the interesting part about that is that's probably your ceiling, his floor, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you guys made it on the same week. It just happened to be there. So, but yeah, I agree. I think looking at some of the movers again, you mentioned Frank having obviously a bigger week. The Mets and Red Sox were kind of our biggest fallers, along with the A's too. And I think some of that potentially had to do with strength of schedule as well. Again, having just a slightly easier strength of schedule potentially, even though the Red Sox have had a slightly harder schedule just in general. But yeah, for the most part, not a lot of major shifts, just a lot of tier shifts for the most part. And then obviously you getting a win. That's probably the biggest W out of this whole thing, even though you're still sitting down at 30. But kind of is what it is, right? What else did you have? I know you kind of talking about like standings and stuff. I know you had some stuff you wanted to mention about that.
Yeah, like you had brought up the A's falling out of the top 10, and it kind of brought them with the Astros, kind of brought my eyes to it. But the AL West is kind of bunched up. They got 10, 11, and 13 spots.
Yep.
And then the NL East is also bunched up at 17, 18, and 19.
Yep.
So I think it's kind of interesting to see how close those races are, and then we'll see how it develops throughout the season. But I mean, it's kind of neat to see. Just it's kind of just deadlock already. So
Yeah. Well, and if you look too, like just first thing I always go to is that strength of schedule to see, okay, is that what's kind of making the biggest difference. And you look at the higher strength of schedule actually has the lower rating, which is interesting, because really what that means is that teams are more than likely underperforming on their side of things, because they're the Mets have almost 300 points a week per game versus almost 270 for the Braves, so a 30-point difference in a week. And yet, if you look at their power ranking score, it's not really that far apart. We're talking 170 points. So really, really interesting stuff. And then same with AL East, right? You said too, looking at teams that are really, really close to each other as well, or AL West. I'm sorry, not AL East, AL West. Very, very similar as well. So good stuff there. And yeah, just looking at the standings, even out in the AL West too, only 2 games separating first and third.
And a fourth team coming into the fray already.
100%. So, look at that. We got someone else in the win column. Thankfully.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, we'll see how it
We're
goes.
on the up and up.
But yeah, anyway, so that's kind of it for power rankings this week. Again, not a ton of stuff to necessarily talk about, but good movement across the board for the most part. Moving on to kind of transactions for the week. The one notable trade we said we thought we would talk about is the Kyle Gibson trade, mainly if anything because of the amount of chatter it created in the chat. Sounds like a lot of people still not knowing what a dump trade is, or what a dump trade looks like. But I think that was a really interesting trade. I initially, when I saw it come through, I actually thought I liked Linney's side more, mainly because you get kind of a guy now in Gibson who can be a good starter for you. Moniak obviously is playing, and then that first round draft pick I think is good too. And it's the Marlins, who are I think middle of the road team, so it's going to be a decent first round pick more than likely. But then I also kind of missed the first time through seeing Austin Martin come through for Adam. Obviously, big Homer fan on this end. Love me some Martin. I mean, if you just look at what he did like early on, 226 average, not bad, but he was playing pretty well. Multi-position eligibility. I love that.
Yeah, the multi-position is huge. I'm not sure if I can really declare a winner.
It was even. I should say that it was. I don't think in any way, shape, or form it was a lopsided trade.
Yeah, it's what the trade needed to be after all the the pomp and circumstance around it. I think it's a solid deal. I would say that I think Linney gets a little more control on the players, whereas Adam's obviously a very good team. He needs to kind of I guess think about the future. So
yeah,
because he may be, I haven't looked at his full team contract situation, but he may be looking at, listen, I'm going to dump a Gibson. I'm going to dump the pick, and I'm going to hopefully get prospects that I can control, for a little longer. But Lenny getting that first round draft pick, that could be gold. I mean, and I don't know where the Marlins are going to be at end of season, but mid first round doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, if you're talking top 15 player in the draft, that's pretty great.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at a potentially, again, depending on where that pick is, top 100, top 150 prospect potentially. In that deal, so certainly not bad by any means. But yeah, just wanted to kind of highlight that. Felt like that was kind of one of the bigger trades to check in on. We've had a couple of others here and there, nothing too meaningful, didn't seem like, but that was kind of the one we wanted to highlight. Then the last thing from us for kind of this week is just taking a look at what the schedule looks like. And I guess I'll just kind of start off with giving my one overview take, so to speak, and let you talk about a couple of things that I know you saw looking through the schedule. But for me, it was really hard to look at the schedule this week and find, I don't want to say, find a lot of meaningful games, because there's tons of meaningful games, but more of from maybe an interdivisional rivalry type standpoint, or like, oh, this is a good storyline or whatever it might be. It was really hard to find. There just aren't many interdivisional games this week. Yeah. And so, you can you can pick and choose and find good teams playing good teams, you know, bad teams playing good teams, you know, bad teams playing bad teams. The, you know, White Sox and Reds playing each other this week, you know, battle of the Davids there. You know, I know you're going to potentially talk about me a little bit, so I'll pass on that. But, you know, Phillies and Dodgers are playing each other. Detroit has Pittsburgh and Las Vegas. The Giants and Yankees are playing. The Giants and Tigers are playing. So lots of big matchups. Just none of them are like interdivision matchups. So it's kind of like they're big in terms of the grand scheme of things, but not necessarily from a divisional standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the notes I had here was White Sox might get their first W against the Reds. I don't know. Linney is obviously a tough opponent. I just had to go through that entire slog. So, you know, it's a lot harder than it looks, guys.
Well, he's got Gibson and Moniak now too. You know, that's part of it as
point.
Well.
You know, that's a great point.
His team's better than it was last week.
Heck yeah. And he's already got a sizable lead, which honestly, like for a team like the White Sox, that is a sizable lead. Yeah, like, I get that.
For sure.
That's hard to come back from.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to get the first win this week or just a win this week. But one thing I did note was the battle. This is another AL Central take. But the battle atop the AL Central, I think, is just going to keep going. I think you might be able to hold your crown for a little bit longer.
We'll see. Because
Tigers are going up against it this week. They got the Pirates, who they're already down big 2. They're going up against the A's, who are coming off kind of I don't want to say down week, but definitely we know what they're capable of. They're still a top team. And then, of course, the Giants, who we know are a top team.
Yep.
So it's going to be tough. And then you already have your uphill battle as well because you're playing – let me pull it up here. You got Nationals, who already have a good lead on you.
My pick to win the East.
Yeah, exactly. Dodgers, who, I mean, it's –
my pick to win the West.
That. Yep. And then the Yankees.
Not my pick to win the East, but definitely looking like they are going to win the East. So yeah.
So you got 3 potential division winners here that you're going up against all in a week. So really, it's just the battle of who gets the least bloodied up by the end of the week might be holding the AL Central at the end of it.
Yeah, I think an interesting twist to this too is looking at Brendan's schedule this week. A little bit on the easier side. Does have the Padres, a top 10 team in the power rankings right now, but probably not necessarily a team that any of us look at in the same light as some of the other teams that were just mentioned. So if you're playing a top team, that's maybe the top team you want to play against in a week. And then he's got the Braves and the Mets, 2 of those NL East teams that you were just referencing earlier, kind of the bottom of that middle tier in the power rankings. So he has a great opportunity to potentially go 3-0 and cement himself back into that race too. I honestly would be happy with a 1-2 week. The past 2 Sundays, I've lost a starting pitcher each day going on the IL, which has cost me 2 matchups. So I'm not looking for wins this week. I'll put it that way. Certainly will do my best, but would not be surprised. Yeah, would not be exactly. Just move on to an easier schedule next week. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it looks it'll be interesting. Got again a lot of good games on the board this week. Just not many divisional ones. So be interesting to see what happens. All right, let's move on to your tier list if you're good with that.
Absolutely.
So I will get it pulled up here on my end, and then whenever you are ready, I will turn the floor over to you, and you just let me know when you want me to move on.
Okay. Do you got the first slide pulled up?
First slide is up and ready to roll.
I mean, it's obvious. I mean, these are teams that are as elite as the Rays City Connects. I think we've all seen the Rays City Connects by now. They're beautiful. All these teams are beautiful. They're like top of the class. So. Obviously, I'm in there. This is a vibes ranking.
I was interesting.
Not a skills ranking. It's all about vibes. Vibes are so high right now. So, moving on to our second tier. We have the pennant pushers. These are the teams that may not win it all. Maybe that they're not going to be juggernauts. I do think a lot of these teams could potentially lose to the teams that we have in the upper tier, including myself, of course.
Obviously.
I said, I'm at the Pirates level, so really on a given week,
100%.
Who knows what's going to happen?
100%.
I'd say this is like a tier of very strong teams that are maybe like dump vultures away from being able to win the whole thing.
Making me look bad too that you got San Diego in there, as I just talked about them as being like the top team we want to play against. So
totally, I absolutely get that. So Padres, I think, are a threat. They're a sleeping giant, I think, in the West.
Yep.
So if they can get in the playoffs, they'll be a threat.
Yeah.
So we have our next tier. This is our getting away with murder tier. These are teams that you look at them and it's like how the fact that they did what they did and they're having this success after all of this, it's sickening. It makes you sick to your stomach.
That's one way to describe it.
Think of the people that this is affected. That's really what you look at when you're looking at these two teams. I don't know what the picture of this random guy is here. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, it's a sickening tier to be.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Go on to our next tier. This is one for the Swifties.
Oh yes,
the Tortured Owners Department.
Classic.
Album not that great, by the way. I'm not gonna listen.
Oh boy,
I'm a bit
putting that out in public is dangerous.
I am a country era Swiftie. I've been around, but I watched her turn.
Yeah, I
too. Supported it.
Me too.
Last album kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. So that's where I put it in the mid tier.
All right, fair enough.
And
fair enough.
These are owners that are like, okay, I've built a good roster. I'm pretty excited about this team. I finally have a good ABL team. I'm just going to lose to everybody else in the above tiers. Do I just dump now and call it a season? This kind of sucks. What's even the point?
I'll share some insider knowledge. I won't name any names, but one of these owners on this list has already told me that come June 1st, they are dumping. So
that's horrible.
That would not surprise me.
Yeah, it's such a bummer. Like to go through all the effort. And it's like you're beating teams. You look good. And all for nothing.
Yeah.
So tortured owners for sure. We go into our next tier here, and this is self-explanatory. I mean, these are just teams that really don't have much of a shot.
Oh, your dad's gonna love this.
Yeah,
love this.
And honestly, like I don't think he has Trout anymore, but he's like the biggest Trout guy I know.
Yeah,
and he's having a bad day to begin with already.
Yeah.
So this is just gonna drive the knife in and twist. Sad AL East teams indeed. Absolutely.
I love
it. And we'll move into our next tier. This is sad LOS teams and Mark. I didn't want to do Mark bad to put him in the next tier. So I figured we'd give him benefit of the doubt because Mark still can string together some good weeks. He's not out of it at all. He's not out of it at all. He could be a tortured owner if he tries hard.
He'd have to get some luck and probably sell some draft capital, I think, to really kind of move up a couple of tiers. But I don't disagree. He has a good framework.
By next week, he might be a sad AL East team.
Yes,
I don't know. We'll look at it.
True.
We don't know.
He's going to be everywhere, but in the NL or AL Central, essentially.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Get him out. So moving on to our next tier. This is also self-explanatory. Yep. This is the June 1st.
Sad day.
It's. I mean, listen. Sucks to be you guys. Not me. It's not. I'm not in that tier. So it's a bit of a bummer for all involved, but it is unfortunate. It's a reality of being in the ABL. Man.
My Nats in there. Just
I put the Nats in there just because it's so hard to come back from that.
Yep.
It's so hard to come back from that. Like no matter how good their how good their team is, how much scoring they put up. At the end of the day, they're not getting wins.
Yep.
And being a one-win team, I hate to see it.
Yep.
But it's tough.
Yep.
And then moving on to our final tier.
Love it.
Jackson Holiday.
Love it.
I mean, that's really all you need to know.
Yeah.
Jackson Holiday. He has Jackson Holiday.
Yep.
Playing a little bit like Jackson Holiday. Where it's just like, man, how is it going this poorly?
True. Very true. Imagine 10 years from now when he has 10 Jackson Holidays on his team.
And we'll put him in the Jackson Holiday tier at the top.
Exactly. And then literally this whole thing will flip.
Yeah, it'll be like Hall of Fame status.
Yes.
Like, boom, this is best of the best. But right now, we're at the bottom, Jackson Holiday tier. So that wraps up the April tier list.
I love it, man. That's great.
Enjoys.
We're going to have to 100% clip this so that 10 years from now, when we are talking about Jackson Holiday as a Hall of Famer, we can come back and reference it and just show everyone how amazing of a podcast. Not only have we been going for 10 years, but the ABL is obviously still going strong too. So
maybe we'll get Buster only to watch the pod and be like, wait a minute, no, gosh. I was first. If
Buster's still alive and still, kicking out baseball content, we got to figure out a way to get him on here for sure.
Absolutely, 100%. Who was first?
Awesome, man. Cool. Well, love the tier list. And that about wraps it up for this week, everyone. So appreciate everyone sticking around. Obviously, again, like I said, probably a shorter one this week. Just not as much craziness to talk about, but again, This is the ABL. So the chances of this happening 2 weeks in a row, yeah, probably not going to happen. So excited. We'll come back next week. We'll get a lot more on the docket and talk about some stuff. And not to mention, tomorrow, May 1st, you know what that means.
Ooh.
We are officially 1 month away from the dump apocalypse.
D-Day. Dump day.
Yes. So everyone hold on to your horses.
Yeah, just give us 1 more month, please.
Right.
1 more month of peace, and then we can go chaos.
That's all we ask. That's all we ask. All right, guys. Well, have a good rest of the night, Cal. Thanks as always, my man.
Too.
Everyone enjoy the rest of your night, and we will talk to everyone again soon. See you guys later.
Love you guys.
That's why I work every day. I'll be making money till I'm in my grave. I don't care what they say. I'll buy time with my money. Left to the bank, cause it's funny. The money keep coming. I manifest it. Seen these lyrics in your get. I'm the bank, come invested. I get trapped and I have it. Money finds me attractive. I'm the type to make commas, turn a profit. I'm the boss with the bunker, but it ain't chocolate. I'm just being honest. I work for this shit. For these lean models, but this beat lit. So I'm going off the list, talking my shit. Yeah, I'ma be the hottest designer in drip. I'm coming with the wireless. I gotta admit that it's really modest, but I work hard for this shit. I do the work, yeah, I do it till it hurts. I'll invest in my future, I'll invest in the purse. I wanna be so rich, life changes, and I don't ever think about how much I just pay it. Yeah, it's a dream, yeah, and every dream. Live a dream, don't stop till you got everything. But there's bad things, cause this life is a challenge. You gotta live, and now I'm building up the challenge. I'm profit, I'm the boss with the bunker, but it ain't chocolate. I'm just being honest, I work for this shit. For usually modest, but it's being lit. So I'm going off the list, talking my shit. Yeah, I'ma be the hottest designer in drip. I'm just coming with the rawness. I gotta admit that it's really modest, but I work hard for this shit. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So keep working till it's hurting, cause that's when you start to